The text came through at 2:47 a.m. I was awake anyway, reviewing quarterly reports from my investment portfolio, so I saw it immediately. Used your credit card for emergencies. Needed to book last-minute flights and hotel for LA buyer meeting. Family supports family, right? We'll pay you back eventually, Mara. I stared at the message for a long moment, then checked my credit card app. $4,200 in charges, first-class flights, Four Seasons hotel, several expensive dinners. I typed back, no problem. Then I opened my secure email and drafted a message to my attorney, Patricia Morrison at Chin & Associates. Patricia, please prepare dissolution documents for the Luminous Boutique Partnership. I want out completely, effective immediately. P. Her reply came within an hour. Patricia never slept much either. Understood. This will trigger the partnership agreement's exit clauses. Are you certain? This is your sister's company. I'm certain. Proceed with full legal dissolution. I want my capital returned according to the original terms. Confirmed. I'll have documents ready by Tuesday morning. I set down my phone and went back to my reports. The Luminous Boutique investment had been profitable, but Mara's behavior had been escalating for months. This wasn't about $4,200. This was about a pattern. Mara had started Luminous Boutique 3 years ago with big dreams and zero capital. She'd been working retail management, saving obsessively, planning her own upscale women's clothing store. The concept was solid: curated designer pieces, personalized styling, exclusive local designers. The execution was ambitious. The problem was money. Mara had $30,000 saved. She needed at least $200,000 to launch properly: lease, inventory, renovations, marketing, operating capital. Banks rejected her outright. Too risky, no collateral, mediocre credit. That's when I'd approached her, though not as her sister Amber, the freelance graphic designer with a modest apartment and modest life. I approached as AR Capital, an anonymous investment firm. The offer, $170,000 in exchange for 51% equity and a seat on the advisory board. Mara would maintain operational control, but major financial decisions required partner approval. She signed everything without hesitation. Probably a mistake, but she was desperate. 6 months later, Luminous Boutique opened in a prime downtown location. It thrived. By year 2, we were profitable. By year 3, Mara had opened a second location. The company was now valued at approximately $1.4 million. My 51% stake was worth around $890,000. But Mara's spending had become reckless: research trips to Paris and New York disguised as business, a company car that was really just her personal luxury vehicle, designer outfits billed as networking expenses but worn to family dinners. I flagged each violation through Patricia, citing the partnership's restrictions. Mara always apologized, promised to be more careful, then did it again. The $4,200 credit card stunt was the final straw. She didn't just misuse funds, she acted like it was a casual favor between sisters. She had no idea I was the one funding her business all along. Tuesday morning, Patricia called at 9:15 a.m. I was at my desk, working on a design project for a non-profit client, the freelance cover that kept up appearances. Amber, the dissolution documents are ready. I've scheduled a call with Ms. Mara Reeves and her attorney for 10 a.m. Are you prepared for the fallout? Yes. She's going to be devastated. You realize the agreement requires her to buy you out at current valuation within 90 days or sell the business. She doesn't have $890,000. I know. May I ask what prompted this? The business is profitable. Check the expense reports from the last quarter. Then look at last night's charges on my personal card. Silence. Then, I see. Understood. At 10:47, Mara called me directly. I let it ring 4 times before answering. Amber. Her voice was panicked. Something terrible happened. My investor, the one who funded Luminous, they're pulling out completely. I have to buy them out or sell the company. That's awful, I said evenly. How much do you owe them? $890,000. I don't have that. All our capital is tied up in inventory and the new location. I'd have to take out massive loans or sell everything I've built. Can you help me? There was the inevitable ask. I thought. Out loud, Mara, I'm a freelance designer. Where would I get that kind of money? I don't know, ask for a loan, ask your friends, something. Not people with $890,000. Her frustration crackled over the line. Then what am I supposed to do? Talk to your bank. Look for investors. Maybe sell one location. That would kill the brand model. Then I don't know what to tell you. You're being really cold about this. I'm being realistic. I'm your sister. My life is falling apart and you're just, whatever. I have to go. I need to call people who actually care. She hung up. That evening, the family emergency meeting convened at Mom's house. I arrived 20 minutes late with Thai takeout. Everyone looked annoyed. Finally, Mara snapped. We've been waiting. Sorry. Traffic. What's going on? I asked. What's going on? Mara's voice rose. What's going on is my business is being destroyed and apparently nobody cares. Mom touched her arm. Sweetie, we care. We're here to help. Dad nodded. This investor pulling out, it's brutal. Completely unfair. Chase, my older brother, leaned forward. The real question is why. Businesses don't just abandon profitable ventures. Something else is going on. Thank you. Mara gestured at him. Exactly. This is personal. They're targeting me. Or, I said quietly, they reviewed your expense reports and decided you were a liability. The room froze. Mara turned to me. Excuse me. Your lawyer said they cited financial management concerns. That means they think you're misusing company funds. I am not misusing anything. Really? Because last night you charged $4,200 to my personal card for emergency business travel. First-class flights. The Four Seasons. Multiple dinners. That was a major buyer. It was necessary. So you used your sister's card instead of the business account. Her face flushed. The business account was low. I was going to pay you back. You still owe me $800 from 6 months ago. Another business trip. I said I'd pay you back. You always say that. You never do. Girls, Mom tried to intervene. This isn't helping. The solution is simple, I said. Mara either finds $890,000 to buy out her investor, or she sells the business. Those are her options. Can't you help her? Mom asked. Maybe co-sign a loan. On my income, no bank would accept that. What about your savings? Dad pressed. You've been working for years. You must have something. I have about $12,000. That won't help. Mara laughed bitterly. Of course. Amber the struggling artist can't help, as usual. What does that mean? I asked. It means you've never contributed anything to this family. You work from home doing whatever. You make barely any money. You live in your tiny apartment with your sad little life. And now, when I actually need something, you're useless. Chase frowned. Mara, that's harsh. Is it? Look at her. She's 34 years old. What has she accomplished? I built a business from nothing. I created jobs. And she just exists. The words stung, as they always did. Mara, the golden child. Me, the afterthought. You're right, I said quietly. I haven't accomplished much. Definitely nothing as impressive as building a boutique empire on other people's money. Her eyes narrowed. What's that supposed to mean? It means your investor gave you $170,000 to start. You didn't build this from nothing. You built it from someone else's capital. And now you're shocked they want it back after you've violated the agreement. I haven't violated anything. The expense reports say otherwise. And using my credit card? That shows a pattern. You treat other people's money like it's yours. Mara shot to her feet. I don't have to listen to this. I came here for support, not judgment from my loser sister. Mara, Mom started. No. I'm done. Amber's always been jealous of me. Now she's using my crisis to make herself feel better about her pathetic life. She grabbed her purse, stormed toward the door, then stopped and turned back. You know what? Fine. I'll sell the business. I'll lose everything I worked for. And when I'm broke and desperate, don't come crying to me for help. Because unlike you, I actually had something worth losing. She left, slamming the door. The room stayed quiet for a long moment. Finally, Chase spoke. That was intense. She's under a lot of stress, Mom said, though she sounded uncertain. Dad looked at me. Amber, maybe you were a little hard on her. Was I? I asked. She just called me a jealous loser with a pathetic life. But I was too hard on her. She didn't mean it, Mom said. She's scared. She meant it, I said flatly. Mara's always meant it. She's been looking down on me since we were teenagers. I'm used to it. That's not true, Mom protested weakly. Mom, she just told me I've never contributed anything to this family. That I'm useless. That my life is sad and small. How is that not true? No one had an answer. I picked up my Thai food. I'm going home. Good luck solving Mara's crisis. I didn't hear from Mara for 3 days. Then she texted, need to talk. Coffee tomorrow. We met at a Starbucks near her boutique. She looked exhausted, dark circles under her eyes, hair in a messy ponytail, none of her usual polished styling. Thanks for coming, she said when I sat down. Sure. I wanted to apologize for what I said at Mom's. That was cruel. It was honest, I said. You've always thought I was a loser. At least now you've said it out loud. I don't think that. Mara, you literally called my life pathetic 3 days ago. She winced. I was upset. I lashed out. You were upset, so you said what you actually think. That's how it works. She stared down at her coffee. I've been looking at my options. My accountant says I can probably get a loan for $400,000, maybe $500,000 if I leverage both locations. But that leaves me $400,000 short. So you'll have to sell. Probably. Unless, she looked at me hopefully. Unless my investor would accept a partial buyout. Take $500,000 now and convert the rest to a smaller equity stake. Have you asked them? My lawyer's drafting a proposal. But, Amber, I need to know something. The way you talked about the expense reports, the partnership terms, you sounded like you knew details. Specific details. My heart rate spiked, but I kept my expression neutral. You told me about the financial management concerns. I made educated guesses. Did you? She leaned forward. Or do you know something I don't? Like what? Like who my investor is. I took a sip of my latte. Why would I know that? Because you're acting weird. You've been calm about this whole thing. Not surprised, not concerned. Like you expected it. I'm calm because I'm not the one losing a business. Or because you already knew it was happening. We stared at each other. Mara, what are you asking me? I'm asking if you know who AR Capital is. I set down my cup carefully. Why would you think that? Because my lawyer found something. AR Capital is registered to a Patricia Morrison at Chin and Associates. I googled her. She specializes in private wealth management and anonymous investment structures. And 3 years ago, you asked me for her contact information. You said you had a friend who needed estate planning help. I'd forgotten about that. Careless. Lots of people use estate planners, I said. Amber. Her voice was shaking now. AR Capital. Your initials are AR, Amber Reeves. Are you my investor? The coffee shop suddenly felt very quiet, even though it was full of people. Mara, just tell me. Yes or no? Are you AR Capital? I could have lied. Could have kept the fiction alive. But 3 years of watching Mara build her business on my money while treating me like a family embarrassment had worn me down. Yes. She sat back like I'd slapped her. Oh my God. I invested $170,000 3 years ago through an LLC. You needed capital. I had it. The terms were fair. You've been my silent partner this whole time. Yes. Why didn't you tell me? Would you have taken investment money from your loser sister, the one with the sad, pathetic life? She closed her eyes. That's what this is about. Revenge for what I said. No. I filed the dissolution paperwork before that conversation. This is about you using my personal credit card without permission after years of flagging your excessive expenses through official channels. Those expenses were for the business. $4,200 for a buyer meeting I can't find any record of in your calendar or email. 3 research trips to Paris in 1 year. A company car that's actually a Range Rover you drive to family dinners. You've been spying on me. I've been reviewing reports from a company I own 51% of. That's not spying. That's fiduciary responsibility. Her hands were shaking. You own 51%. You own most of my company. I own most of the company I funded, yes. You own 49% of a business that wouldn't exist without my capital. But you let me think, everyone thinks, you're barely getting by. You live in that tiny apartment. You drive a 10-year-old car. 15, actually. And yes, I live modestly. That's how I saved enough to invest in the first place. How much money do you have? Enough to invest in your boutique, plus several other ventures. Real estate. A diversified portfolio. You're rich. I'm comfortable. How comfortable? That's not relevant. Amber, you're my sister. How did you get this much money? I sighed. I inherited $80,000 from Grandma Reeves when I was 22. Everyone knew about that. What they didn't know was that I also received a $150,000 life insurance payout from Aunt Carol 2 years later. She'd named me as beneficiary for helping care for her during her cancer treatment. I invested conservatively, lived on almost nothing, worked multiple freelance jobs, and built it up over 12 years. You had a life insurance payout you never told anyone about. Because I didn't want this. This judgment. This expectation that I should fund everyone else's dreams. Is that what you think I did, used you? You texted me at 2 a.m. to tell me you charged $4,200 to my credit card without asking. How is that not using me? She was crying now. I was desperate. The buyer meeting was real. I just didn't have immediate access to funds. You have a business account with $40,000 in it. I've seen the statements. That's operating capital. I can't just drain it for personal travel. Exactly. It was personal travel, not business. And you charged it to me instead of paying for it yourself. I was going to pay you back. When? You've been going to pay me back for 3 years. Every personal expense you've charged to the business, every loan you've taken from family, every line you've crossed, you always say you'll make it right. You never do. She put her head in her hands. So that's it. You're destroying my business because I borrowed $4,200. I'm exiting an investment because my business partner has consistently violated our agreement and shown no ability to maintain boundaries. The credit card was just the final straw. What about the partial buyout proposal? Would you consider that? No. Why not? Because I don't want to be in business with you anymore. Not as your sister, not as your investor. That's not fair. Mara, you called my life pathetic. You told our entire family I've never contributed anything. You mocked my apartment, my car, my career, and all along, I was the person who made your dream possible. If that's not fair, I don't know what is. She was sobbing now, drawing stares from other customers. What am I supposed to do? Find another investor. Sell one location. Restructure. The fundamentals are sound, you're good at what you do. You can rebuild. Just not on my capital while treating me like garbage. I never meant to hurt you. Yes, you did. Maybe not consciously, but you've spent years feeling superior to me. That was intentional. I'm sorry. I know I did real damage. But sorry doesn't change the agreement. You have 90 days. I stood up to leave. Amber, wait, please. Can we figure this out? Sister to sister? We haven't been sister to sister in a long time, Mara. We've been investor and entrepreneur. And that relationship is over. I walked out of Starbucks and drove home in my 15-year-old car to my tiny apartment, where I had enough in my accounts to retire tomorrow if I wanted to. But I wouldn't tell my family that. To them, I'd keep being Amber, modest, struggling, ordinary. Because the moment they knew about the money, I'd stop being Amber and become an ATM. Mara eventually sold one location and took out a $450,000 loan to buy out my stake at a negotiated rate of $750,000. Patricia had agreed to a slight discount to expedite the exit. The deal closed in 73 days. The family learned the truth in pieces. First, that I'd been Mara's investor. Then that I'd had the money all along. Then that I'd quietly built wealth for over a decade while they all assumed I was barely scraping by. The reactions were predictable. Mom cried that I hadn't trusted them. Dad was angry I'd deceived everyone. Chase was impressed but hurt I hadn't asked his advice. Mara stopped speaking to me entirely. 3 months later, I got a text. Boutique doing well. Paid off half the loan. You were right about the expense problems. Working with an accountant now. Still not ready to talk but wanted you to know I heard you. I replied, glad it's working out. 6 months later, Mara called. Can we have coffee? A real conversation this time. We met at the same Starbucks. She looked better, rested, professional, focused. I've been in therapy, she said. Working on competitiveness, judgment, superiority complex. My therapist helped me see I treated you terribly because I needed to feel better than someone. I'm not asking you to forgive me. But I want you to know I see it now, and I'm working on it. I appreciate that. Can I ask, why did you invest in me? If you knew I looked down on you, why give me the money? Because your business plan was solid. Because you're talented. Because separating personal from professional is something adults should be able to do, even when the personal relationship is damaged. Especially then. Good investments aren't about feelings. She smiled sadly. That's very logical. That's how I've survived. Logic, boundaries, and not expecting my family to see me clearly. That's depressing. That's reality. We talked for an hour, not about the business, not about money, but about childhood, differences, the ways we'd hurt each other. It wasn't reconciliation, exactly. But it was honest. When we left, Mara hugged me. I'm going to do better. It might take a while, but I'm going to do better. Hey, I said softly. And slowly, over the next year, she did. She stopped making comments about my lifestyle. She asked about my work with genuine interest. She began treating me like an equal instead of a charity case. The boutique thrived. Mara opened a third location, with investors she found herself, under better terms and with clear boundaries. As for me, I kept my modest apartment and my old car. I kept freelancing, kept investing quietly. The family eventually stopped asking about my finances. Exactly as I wanted. Because sometimes success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about holding your boundaries until everyone else realizes their assumptions were wrong all along. Mara figured it out the hard way. But at least she figured it out. That's more than most people do.